Hey guys, it's Matt. In my opinion, this is a major element in understanding this reality and how it works. It only appears that everything is the same, that all levels are the same. Our senses only take in 1%. Remember that. We'll return to that in a moment. The level of real is different here. Okay? We go back to the concentric rings diagram I introduced roughly 5 years ago. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but up to this point, nobody has come forth and blown any part of that theory out of the water. Nothing. Saying, Matt, this part of your concentric rings diagram, how reality works, what you call the outer screen, this is wrong and why it's wrong. This has never happened. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. My conclusions came from all of you. We all move together. I'm not sitting here, oh, isn't that great? Look like you. No, what my conclusion, what I came up with 5 years ago, was heavily influenced 60% by the people I interact with, like you. But we're going to move it further. And I don't know how much I've even alluded to this when we presented the book, but I've been thinking about this a lot. I don't even know how to express this. I'll do the best I can. But first off, let's not forget the senses here, vision, hearing, taste, whatever. We take in general about 1% of the available information. That's not a whole lot to go on. So the whole reality, it appears to us that everything here is the same. All men are created equal. Each level is the same. There are various levels of fake to real. Now, at some degree or another, it's all construct. The Goldilocks nature of this place, this realm called Earth, is impossible. It's a trillionth to the trillionth power if you times together all the probabilities. Oh, this needs to happen perfectly. Oh, what are the chances of this? I mean, we could just do this all day long. Earth, right? Oh, Earth's in the Goldilocks zone. No first grade truthers. I don't think anybody can get in their Elon Musk tuna fish can and go anywhere. Okay, let's get that out of the way. Earth is in the Goldilocks zone between Venus and Mars. Oh, it's closer to Venus would be too hot. It'd be like living in downtown Baghdad in August every single day, and life on Earth couldn't exist. Oh, that's the Goldilocks zone. Oh, right. Well, you could just do that all day long. The sun's out at the most 12 hours. See, if we had a longer day, like if a day was 50 hours, the sun shone like 25 hours straight, then like most of the earth when the sun was shining would be like downtown Baghdad, but then plus like 50 degrees. Nobody could live in 180 degrees. And then during that 40 or 50 hours of night, it would become like the worst parts of Siberia and Vladivostok, and nobody could live in that. Oh, that's Goldilocks. Aren't we lucky? Aren't we so lucky we get 12 hours of sun and 12 hours? Oh, everybody just thinks this came from the Big Bang. It's all random. What a bunch of jackasses, scientists that think it's all random. You've got to be kidding me. You like a trillion to the trillionth power probabilities? I got a bridge to sell you if you like those odds, you scientific jackasses. Let's go on and on and on. If via evaporation of the oceans, the salt was taken up into the air and the salt rained down, nothing could live. Basically, well, Matt, per Darwin, things would find a way to live in the salt. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to shut the whole channel down. Well, see, these maybe you don't like a certain example, but other examples have a little bit more merit than others. We just do this forever. Wet snow comes down in a blizzard, right? As soon as it lands, you can clump it into a snowball. Talked about this is a reality breakdown to me. How the snowflakes all don't touch together. Hail can form, water can form gigantic balls that'll smash through your windshield. But the snow, see, the wet snow should clump in the air like hail, and giant 400-pound pieces should come down, just smashing through everyone's roof every winter. The 20 states in the United States that get snow shouldn't be livable because the wet snow should clump in the air and come down in 1,000-pound chunks. It'll just break your back if it lands on you. Oh, it all stays apart. But as soon as it lands, you can just clump it right together in a big sticky snowball. Isn't that so nice of the snow not to clump in the air? Why doesn't it act like hail? Wouldn't it be easier to bring sticky snowflakes together in a blizzard where the wind's whipping it all around? But it doesn't touch. That's per the electrostatic whatever of water. But I forgot. Oh yeah, wouldn't it be easier for snow to clump up than for hail to be made with just water clumping up in the ice? This shit could go on forever. This place isn't very real, folks. Let's move on. But there's different degrees of fake here. That's what I'm saying. This is a horrible example. But the outer ring with or screen, as you go out, it gets faker, more corrupt. The hijacker, the adversary, the Notnilc, etc. So the political figures are on the outer edge, like Chuck Schumer and monsters like that, and George W. Bush and Barack, our friend Barack. And okay, now that's more fake. But then someone could say, well, Matt, so let's say I was allowed to do this and I wouldn't be stopped at the gate. I could drive down to Washington, D.C., drive into the White House like Jack Ryan and say, hey, where do I park in clear and present danger? Walk into the White House and sit right in front of Barack. So how is that not as real as me? It doesn't make sense. It's not in some way. Again, what's the day we die, we'll go, is that how it worked? Oh, okay, I see now. We only take in 1%. It's a bad example. You could drive to Washington, D.C. and go walk into the White House if you had the ability to do that without being tackled and sit in front of Barack. Matt, you know Barack's not the current president. I know, but I want to believe he is. You could sit in front of Barack. You say, well, how is that not as real as me? I'm saying it's a horrible example. It's a little funny, but it's not. In some way, it's not. Again, your heart-based reality bubble, here's where you sit. Look around, 5-10 feet around you. Is your pet on your lap? Is your significant other or your child walking by? Is there a tree right out your window? Is anything ever going to happen to that? No, it's not. I know people have had Mandela effects where they walk by a certain business that they know has been there for 20 years and the business is gone. But for your heart-centered reality, is anything going to change? If there were a lot of people that I trusted that had a bunch of testimony that they had something, a place to keep their pens, and it just disappeared, and reality's changing like a Mandela effect around them, then I would revise this theory. But you see what I'm saying? Right around us, it's not going to change. There might be a tree right outside your window. Is that tree, bad example, but a little funny, is that tree ever going to announce itself as becoming gay? See what it's not going to happen. I know a tree can't. Well, maybe it can. I don't. But you see what I'm saying? It's not. But that will happen. All the high school students don't know what bathroom to use. It's at the outer edge or outer periphery of reality. Let's say, well, Matt, I could walk right up to one of those high school students and say, oh, you're the one that doesn't know what bathroom to use on a Tuesday, right? And the person could shake my hand and say, yeah, I struggle with what bathroom to use. So how is that? You could go meet them. How is that not as real? Bad examples. It's not easy to talk about. It's not as real. Whatever you could classify via the concentric rings diagram of reality, that as far out as you go, as items and subjects and ideas move towards the screen and the periphery, it's not as real. The only thing here that could even be considered at all real is your current reality, your heart-centered reality bubble. It might only extend out 10 or 20 feet. But see, everything at the periphery is breaking down, where you could say, where I sit now, the tree outside my window has a light, green leaves. It's not going to just all of a sudden change. Therefore, we know in some way that as you move out from heart-centered reality bubble, whatever that means to you, reality becomes less and less real. The main point of what I'm presenting here is all men are, it says all men are created equal. Put reality in that phrase. All levels of reality are not created equal. They're not on the same. They're not on equal footing. I have no idea if that made any sense, but I'm not going to re-record it. Matt, the only thing that didn't make sense is you saying something about wishing Barack Obama was president or still president. Yeah, of course. It's funny as shit. They're all bumbling idiots that just read teleprompters, but I find Barack to be the funniest. Could you imagine how wonderful it would be to have him as president again, and you could see real video of him on his bicycle with his pant legs rubber banded so that it'll get stuck in the chain? It doesn't get any better than that. They're all puppets of equal standing. Sorry. So I sat here for like 5 minutes thinking I better be able to summarize this in at least a tiny little way that makes sense, or nobody's going to stick with this horse shit. And what if they came here for stoves? Can you imagine the one guy from Skokie that came here for more stove construction? What the hell is this? Okay, here's my best effort at a summary. We are meant to believe that everything in this reality is on equal footing in terms of being just as real as the next thing. Well, it's all on the same level, right? It's all equally as real. We believe this because that's what the senses tell us. The 99% would tell us something else, I think. The 1% tells us this. Then we have a collective agreement. All of us collectively agree on what reality is. It's all the same. It's all in the same standing or levels of real. What I'm saying is, without really being able to describe this, there are various levels, maybe many different levels of real. Go back to the concentric rings. In general, if it comes from the outer ring, the screen, the asshole dark, or the Notnilc, it is less real. You can make a decision in a way. A real spiritual being can decide almost metaphysically what part of reality they want to engage in or live in. If you are constantly engaging with the screen, you're campaigning for Biden. is Biden, is he still around? I mean, campaigning for Biden, and you're a stockbroker. You just move blips around on the screen, and then you engage in this Notnilc false activity, and your entire life is trying to. Oh, and you don't know what bathroom to use, and all that you engage with the social justice warrior cause of the month, and you're engaging with that outer ring in some way. In ways that I can't talk about with any degree of intelligence. In some way, metaphysically, you're making the choice to make yourself less real, because you're engaging with that outer ring or the screen. Remember, the screen can't throw you in the back of its El Camino / pickup trunk flatbed. It can't just haul you off. You have to go engage with it. That's the purpose of the handshakes in the concentric rings. One hand reaching out to the other hand, which should be a slimy tentacle trying to reach in. It's almost like you making it's a metaphysical decision to move, as usual, away from the spiritual self, away from the spiritual side of the Vitruvian man, to move away from the heart-centered reality. I mean, wherever you are now, look around. What's going to change? What's going to announce there are worms on the other side of the little rose bush there in front of you, and they're going to announce themselves as gay, like that interview out of Nigeria. He says, "Why are you gay?" Remember the worms? Like, well, it's not going to happen. It's still in your heart center, unless you decide otherwise. It's solid. It's yours. Okay, it's not going to be infringed or impinged upon by the screen. Saying if you engage with the outer ring and your constant focus and you want to, I want to be famous. I want to this. I want to, wouldn't it be great to be Bill Gates? Wouldn't it be great? And you're engaging, you're almost metaphysically taking yourself into a reality that's not as real as what you could be engaging, if that makes any sense. It's extremely similar to the ship of fools on the river of insanity concept. The ship of fools concept is a reality that presents a trick and fools people into engaging with it, with the fakest, most fluid part of reality. Okay, this is not easy to talk about, and even I don't even, my understanding of it is going all over the place. It's helping me in talking it out, but whenever it gets confusing, you just back up and say, okay, every part of this, it seems like everything in this world is equally as real. All right. Again, that, Matt, what you call the screen or a political presentation that comes through a news story through CNN or the BBC, well, that's the screen, according to you, Matt, or the outer ring of reality. But if you drove to where that news event's happening, you would be in the middle of it and it would be real. I hear you, but yes and no. Okay, yes and no. There's a lot going on in this reality that it's outside of our perception. Just because it's right there in front of you, or the news story is happening around you, does that mean it's just as real as you are? Just because it's there in front of you? I'm saying no. What is real? Okay, there's some news story that's happening. You drove out to it. Oh, it was happening through my TV. Now I went out and verified it. Oh, it's just as real as I am. No, it's not. It doesn't matter if it's right there in front of you, is what I'm saying. So I don't know if that made any sense, but I'm not going to re-record that either. I'll look to your comments to try to bind all these strange pieces together. All right, let's back up again, where we go back to a place where we all agree. Everybody here, except the guy from Skokie looking for the stove videos, everybody here believes that the general presentation from the New York Times and media and social media and the news, whatever, is not very real. We agree on that, of course. Okay. Which goes along and supports the concentric rings diagram as it comes from the outer ring, whatever, it's not very real. Where everything breaks down, reality breakdowns, Mandela effects, etc. So in a way, this relates to the reality trick. All of reality is presenting a trick standing before a real spiritual being. Why is something that you consider not as real as you are, not as real as your heart-centered reality, why is it trying to play a trick? What is the purpose of its trick? To me, unless I'm missing something, it's very simple. Can't throw you in the back of its pickup truck. It's playing a trick for you to engage with it. You're engaging with its fakeness. Well, it might need your energy. It might be an egregore. It might be about Lush, but it also might be its role here as the trickster. So you yourself start engaging or participating in a reality that is not as real as where you could be. And what is the effect on you in doing that? Are you now metaphysically taking yourself into a place that's not very real, with the other translation of that being farther away from your spiritual side or farther away from that arm of the Vitruvian man? This is not, if any of this is on target, it's not the best news for the no consequences people. The no consequences people that believe no matter what their actions here, in no way can they harm their spiritual essence. Okay, Tony, who was more of a no consequences people, with higher self, knows exactly what it's doing in putting a little aspect of itself in this game. He's more of a no consequences person. No, higher self's not going to put an aspect of itself into this game. If there's any risk, it could be in any way harmed or okay, I hear you. I hear the no consequences people, but same thing. Why is there a reality that you think it's the outer screen and its presentations through its social media and its news and its false stories? You think it's trying to get your attention, and why is it trying to do that? It's trying to get you to engage with it, to move out to it. You think it's trying hard? Just a little bit. It works 24/7, 365 like the Terminator. It never takes a day off. Why is it doing all that? Why? Well, the no consequences people say, oh, Matt, it is a role player in this reality. It needs the energy. When you engage with it, it does suck Lush energy. And, if people are going about the reality the wrong way or not doing what their spiritual whole wants or not learning the lessons they need to be learning here, okay, but there is no hardcore consequence for making these bad decisions. But I don't like the definition per the no consequences people. If you're not doing in life what you're supposed to be doing, you might not be Horcruxing part of your soul off into Ravenclaw's lost item, but you're not doing what the spiritual whole of you needs you to do here in this place at this particular time. Therefore, by definition, that's a consequence. Not doing what you're supposed to do, there's a consequence. When a microwave goes beep, beep, and it tells you your hot dog's done, put a damn hot dog in it. I do this every other day. I got to eat better. Put a damn hot dog in a paper plate. 1 minute. Little ends start to explode. Skin start to explode. If I sit here for a minute and don't get the hot dog and the microwave still beep, there's a consequence. The consequence is the hot dog's a little colder. There's always a consequence if you're not doing exactly what you're supposed to do. The no consequences people they need a better term. No spiritual ruination consequences, something like that. There's always a consequence when you engage with the screen. If I go out and I try to emulate myself after, Chuck Schumer, he's my hero, but Chuck Schumer posters up all over the wall, and there's a consequence. It might not doom my soul, no consequences, people, but there's a consequence. That is a waste of a life if I try to emulate Chuck Schumer and walk in his political shoes, because I assure you, that's not what I would say that's not what my higher self or my spiritual whole wants from this reality, me chasing after minions of the screen and putting their posters up on the wall like Elon Musk. There's always a consequence. So what I'm talking about here is you believe in it, you go engage with it. You're almost like potentially metaphysically stepping towards the screen, which could change the metaphysics of you, or at least remove you from spiritual self to a degree. I know that really upsets no consequences people, because that sounds like if you move completely into it, then it's the Harry Potter concept of Horcrux. In the Harry Potter concept of Horcrux, Zara, not now, sweetie. In the Harry Potter concept of Horcrux, the Voldemort, presented as the lowest of the low, sold his soul to another demon for power, the darkest of the dark black magicians, went so far to engage with, quote, the material reality, so much didn't want to leave the material reality to protect his place here, that he took, it's a very interesting concept from a truth perspective, keeps coming around and around. There's something to this. It's not just fun fan fiction. Split his soul into different parts, and put part of Voldemort, the evil character, the Deathly Hallows 1 and 2 at the end, part of his soul went into Ravenclaw's lost item, which is like a tiara, a crown thing with a gem. Put part of his soul in a snake. Put part of his soul in another gem. Put part of his soul in a rock, or whatever it may be. He split his soul up and planted it, embedded it in the material reality to protect his own existence here. I mean, this is a metaphor of a real sick bastard that wants to do everything possible to attach to this world. Who the heck wants to cozy up and attach to this world? People like you and me, people like you, we want to leave it behind as soon as possible. Matt, go jump off a bridge. What'd you do yesterday? I threw Grandpa Chip's war medals off the bridge. No, I'm not going to. I want to live out the rest of my life. I don't want to jump off. I want to throw Grandpa Chip's war medals off the bridge. I want to live out. But when the day comes, trust me, you're going to try to get some grimoire, Matt, for more life. No, I'm not. I'll be ready to go. There's no fear in it. It's just a damn train. Okay, well, let's not get into that. We all know there's no fear of death. We all know what we existed before will exist after. It's not a big deal. It's natural to fear it. That's why we're in the body. Whatever. Okay, Matt, don't backtrack. We know all that shit from the book. I hear you. Let's move on. So in a way, it cannot force itself on you. It presents itself behind a trick. Why? It's just for its own purposes. There's no reason for it. There's no consequence. If you waste your life engaging with it, metaphysically, taking your own self away from your spiritual side and what the spiritual whole needs from your life, there's a consequence for that. Doesn't mean it dooms your soul if there's a consequence. It just means you didn't do in life what you were supposed to do. You were a spiritual whack-off. A spiritual whack-off. That means you didn't get it done for the part of you that's not here. And if you didn't get it done, then there's a consequence. No consequences, people. You need to revise your terms. Okay, if I sit here and if I don't get my hot dog right away, there's a consequence. That's the way it's a yin and yang. There's a consequence for everything. If I paused people were like, how many people? What the hell was that? There's a consequence for what I just did. The yin and the yang. The duality of this place. There always is. So, okay. Remember, the main premise here is everything seems just as real as everything else. The building, to the pigeon on it, to you, to the person that walks by you, to the presentation in the news that you could drive out and verify. What I'm saying is, think of it as Photoshop, right? Maybe that's where the idea behind the layering of Photoshop. There's layers. The concentric ring diagram. In Photoshop, once everything's frozen into the final image, then it's a still two-dimensional image, but everything seems that it's all together, right? It's all in the same picture. It's all at the exact same layer when it's all frozen together, but it came in at different layers. Here, what I'm talking about is, and we'll never fully understand it while we're in the body, there's different layers of real. So you can't say in general, we really shouldn't talk about the reality as a whole. Oh, the reality is this, and put these labels, all fake. And that's wrong, in my opinion, and I do it all the time myself, to say you can't talk about the entire reality because there's, per the concentric rings diagram, there's different layers. What do I believe? The part of me that's not here once from my incarnation, the little aspect of itself that it placed in earth. Hey, higher self, thanks a lot. Matt, are you going to fight with your higher self again? What if Bill has to put your higher self in the light party with your higher self be standing next to Madame Blavatsky with bicycle chains? I don't think it'll do that, but I will fight with it. Hey, I will fight with it a little bit later. Hey, higher self, get us the heck out of here. Okay, what it doesn't want, I'm pretty sure of this, it doesn't want me to fall for this reality trick, to be a real happy customer right in the middle of the ship of fools. Isaac, another daiquiri, please. That's what it doesn't want. Me trying to cozy up to the screen, me spending hours trying to figure out Elon Musk's next move as I talk to his wall poster. It doesn't. The screen presents a trick. All of reality and its minions that are on its frequency present a trick. Don't think it wants me to engage and metaphysically lower myself to engage with the trick. I think it wants me to see through the trick. And so, wait a second. My goal then is to get as far away from this screen presentation as possible, to live more of my life in my immediate reality bubble, my heart center reality bubble that doesn't change and break down as all fluid as the outer rings. It's the tree out my window is the tree out my window. It's not going to change. It's a different level of reality. It's all fake, but it's more real than the screen presentation. Now, no consequences, people. I guess it just doesn't matter, right? It doesn't. In a way, Tony was a no consequences, people. Tony reiterated to me not the Tony that watches CNN. It's another Tony. First grade truthers that don't understand. What's this two Tony stuff? It's two different people. That's another reality playing games. What are the chances that one Tony is at the complete end of the sliding scale, communed with his higher self, knew more about reality than anybody I've ever come across, and the other Tony just berates me because I'm one of those people and watches Mac. Well, just tune on CNN. That's all you need to know. That's the other Tony. What are the chances? You want to talk about Goldilocks reality, that from either side of my perspective, on all the way down one end is Tony, all the way down the other end is the Tony. What are the chances? I mean, well, Matt, Tony's a common name, just like Anthony in Philly. Yeah, true. It's not like the name, they both were nicknamed La Lavliolette with nicknames of Kid Charlemagne. That would be a little bit more uncommon than two Tonys, but you know what I'm saying. So Tony, the one Tony was more of a no consequences people, and I told you this before, but I didn't like when he said it. He said, Matt, even one of the simultaneous incarnations that's a complete jack-off that falls for the trick and tries to be, CFO, trying to be CEO of this corporation, the higher self can learn from that asshole too. And I was like, no, don't tell him. I don't want to. So I might not be any more seeing through the trick. I might not be any more valuable than he's like, and I think he would say, well, no, you'd be more valuable because you're kind of doing the real hard work of what it really needs, but it still can learn something from its jack-off incarnations, those that just have the Oprah Winfrey posters up all over the wall. It's still learning something, even if it's learning how not to be or how not to act. So, there's, and he did talk about where, the incarnations here, have to help the overall whole or the higher self do enough to get everybody out of here, to get all the simultaneous incarnations out of these material planes. There has to be, so it's not trapped, but there has to be certain things done. We're not succumbing to the trick of the David Icke's Saturn Moon Matrix or anything. It's the higher self is like things need to be done by the incarnations to get everybody out of here. And I think what we're doing, completely seeing through the trick, is the most important part. That's my personal belief. Why? Because it's so rare to completely see through the trick. Somebody stumbled upon this. My other friend, Tony, listen to these jack-offs seeing through the trick. They think they're all special. Oh, you all special. They're so proud of themselves, and they talk about themselves like Neo in the Matrix. They're delusional sons of bitches. Look, the people around us, they'll never see it. It is special, our perception in this false place. Okay, don't kid yourself. It is special. We've been talking about parts that are less real, parts that are more real. So what are the elements of reality? You have what Tony called the game board, nature, the laws of nature, whatever this place called Earth is, that can make different presentations to different people depending on how they study it. No real world could feed both sides conflicting evidence at the same time, things like that. You have the game board, and all of it's not very real, but that's more real than the screen presentation, than the presentation that arises through all of society and all of culture. That's way pushing out in the concentric rings towards the outer ring and the screen. And are you engaging with the natural world, which is going to be closer to your heart-centered reality bubble? You engaging with the false world that comes through society. Now, something very strange happened with a lot of the people around us during the C, the V in 2020. It's some way related to what we're talking about here, but I could never put my finger on what exactly happened, but I think it's related. Right around, 2015, 2016, 2017, this hiking craze took off. Pam started engaging in it in hiking groups and then kayaking groups. And I appreciate what they're doing, but let me just jump right to the final line here, and we'll try to figure it out in between. There's a reason they're taking to nature so desperately, for lack of better words. And a lot of these people are NPC types. And the fact that they took to nature, it's good news for them. They might not be NPC types. I don't know if this is coming out right. But all this hiking craze, and we get hiking groups and kayak groups and camping groups, right about 2015, 2016, 17, guys, it just went through the roof. I don't know if you noticed this in the people around you. Look, the people always went camping, little camping sites up here at French Creek State Park, but it just went through the roof, all the parks, and even in that Into the Wild movie, the guy says, I've got to wait 3 years on a list to paddle down a river, and he just went and did it that afternoon. So, but when C, the V came in 2020, then it went on steroids times a million again. And, what are these people around us? Are they young souls? Are they NPCs? Tony thought that most people around us have a soul that's a real soul, but it doesn't have that spiritual bridge out of here. It's a soul that's like animated by, he called it the nature spirit or something local. It doesn't have the higher self connections that a real spiritual being would have. Dolores Cannon would agree that a lot of these people are background people. Whatever they are, though, it's good news for them because millions and millions of them took to nature and hiking and in 2015, 16, 17, 18. And then when C, the V came, it went again on steroids times a million. And Pam's involved. She hikes with groups, and they do nature trails, guys. Okay, you know somebody that's highly engaged in this, but the person, what is really going on here? There's something related to reality itself, where it's almost like a knee-jerk reaction back in the positive direction. That at least to this group of people, the reality in society is breaking down, becoming so false. It was like a desperate attempt to get closer to the parts that are real. Those layers that are real, the natural world or the game board here. I don't think it's just, they just took up hiking. There's a metaphysical, a reason, a soul reason for it. To try to just, they don't, maybe they're people, Matt, people are engaging with the screen all day long, like you said, Pam, and Facebook and Instagram, and she's on board with whatever the new social media says to do. Ice bucket challenge, right in there. The social media says that this group is being discriminated against. She's an advocate for it. But then she'll go hike in nature. It's like maybe there's so many different aspects of us. If she is turning to nature like many people do with these hiking groups, and it's a desperate attempt to get close to something real, that's very good news for them. I don't think a complete NPC of this world would do that. Maybe they would, though. Tony said their soul is animated locally. They're going to be more associated with the natural world or whatever this place is called Earth, the game board, and maybe the corruptor here, the Notnilc, the Satan, the hijacker, the corruptor is so overstepping that even the NPC is attempting to get closer to what it considers its source or real. I don't know exactly how to talk about it, guys. You've seen this hiking craze. There's a reason why look, I like to hike too. I like to get close to nature. I'm not saying if you're listening to this, I got into this hiking thing 3 years ago. Matt, are you saying that I'm an NPC? No. Of course, you wouldn't be listening. Trust me that Pam and her friends, they don't listen to this presentation. I think it's absolute horse shit. They don't. But okay, I would hike all the time too. I like nature, but except you walk 5 feet into the woods here in Pennsylvania, you have 4 deer ticks on you. You can't go in the woods. Can't get people come in from out of country or out of state. They go on these hikes and they don't realize the Lyme disease and the deer ticks. They get effed up. You can't just go. You can walk trails that are dirt and rock. You can't go through. They call it single track with weeds growing up. Forget about it. The other thing I noticed, I don't mean to stray too much, but I always wanted to mention this. I don't know where to mention it. These deer ticks, they love me. But I don't understand. Pam and her friends can go through these hikes through weeds, and I mean, she's had deer ticks on her, but I mean, just 4 or 5, 6 ticks in all the years she's been hiking. I go out for 1 block, 1 time, and I'll have 3, 4 deer ticks on me. And I hear you. I'm with you. What you're saying, they can maybe they smell out a certain type of blood or a certain type of being. Maybe that's their purpose. They sniff a real person. I don't want to put it that way. A real person versus I've been, trust me, I mean, Pam will tell you, I've sprayed up with off, this nasty DEET stuff, the 20% DEET they sell off, and now it's down to like 10% DEET. Spray up, and I'll still have a deer tick on me. Now, you get it out soon enough, you back it out, you're not going to get Lyme disease. I think they have to be sucking on you for a while. But Pam, almost never. I don't see how it's possible. And I've thought many times, it's almost like these we talked about how these things came out of nowhere. They didn't exist. They were kind of created in some way. And I see that Tucker Carlson is now pushing through all the things popping up. Tucker Carlson's pushing how it escaped, or the syphilis type disease related to Lyme escaped from the animal research lab in Plum Island, Lyme, Connecticut. And well, you know what? If Tucker Carlson is presenting that, like I said, I alluded to when we talked about this issue just about 2 or 3 months ago, then that's not it. It's a false presentation. There's no real truth that's coming from Tucker Carlson. Hope everybody listening to me understands that. It's a Notnilc puppet to play the other side. Well, Matt, he talked about the harm of getting the V and renting the action vaccination, like we talked about 100 times. They wanted 20% not to do it. If it looked like everybody was going to do it, then they put out the harmful news stories. They wanted to keep it 80-20. That's how the disharmony they create in this reality works. There always has to be a legitimate counter side. They don't want everybody to vote Democrat. They want what they're going to present in this ridiculous election. They're going to present 50-50. Just like that headline I read. They expect it to be right down the middle. Oh, sure. It's just Goldilocks reality having to present itself, having to basically give itself away. These people can be so different. They're both puppets working for the same team, of course. There's no real president, but the people couldn't be so different. And it's kind of from a Notnilc perspective, it's a gauge as to how successful they're putting people into the opposing camps. And the opposing camps fight, and they create energy, and they create loosh. There's nothing better from the Notnilc perspective than the election that shows their success in polarization, their success in pitting one against the other. And that's the primary purpose of the election. It's Notnilc feedback. It's the greatest Gallup poll in the world to the Notnilc sons of bitches. Could you imagine if somebody looking for stoves stumbled upon this video? We could do the John Johnson from Django, the Big Daddy from Django. So let me get this straight. You believe that the people that just took up hiking are in some way crying out to get closer to the only thing that's real in this. You and your Jimmy come up here, no appointment, no nothing, and you believe that potentially she doesn't get deer ticks, but you do because you're a different tour of. You and your Jimmy come, no appointment, no nothing. What you should seek an insane asylum and check yourself in. You people have lost, and it's not just the wacko asshole making this presentation. This Matt guy. People that you have these people listening that actually are agreeing with you. Y'all should be locked away. Look. There's a lot of weird stuff thrown out here. Okay, I always think about things for weeks or months before I present something that would be considered strange, like this. I don't put it out if I'm not about 90% sure this is generally how reality works. Okay, yeah, it would be strange to anybody here looking for Russian stoves. But I hear the old guard, we always are thinking along the same lines. I assure you that a lot of what's being presented here kind of resonates. Yeah, that's kind of how it works. There are parts of this reality a little bit more fake than others. It seems like everything is on equal standing, but it's not. I know we won. We're going to be one. The old guard, I know you're agreeing with a lot of what I'm saying. It would be insane to, even my friend Tony, either once a month or every couple of months, he'll listen to one of these presentations. I hope he's not listening to this one. Call my dad, be locked away. But as strange as this was, when we summarize it, it all works back to the same few sentences every single time. I believe it is this simple. We are an aspect of a larger spiritual entity. We're in this construct called Earth. It's completely false from what the scientists say it is and what people as a consensus believe it to be. All of reality through the false parts here, the society, culture, everything other than the natural game board is designed to present a trick. There are two sides, those that propagate the trick, the minions that serve the Notnilc, and those that are either here next to us being fooled or those seeing through the trick. Your job is to see through the trick and to get in touch with what your spiritual needs from your incarnation and the small amount of years you have here on Earth. Its job is to fool you, distract you, and trick you so you don't do what your spiritual whole needs. It's no different than that old Looney Tunes with the sheepdog and the wolf. Morning, Sam. Morning, Red. They punch in, then they beat each other up. Good night, Sam. It's its role, your role. Most people around us, they're falling for the trick. No consequences, people. They're not doing what they're supposed to do. By definition, that's a consequence. Tiny little group is seeing through the trick. Part 2, the work. Can't tell you what that is. You have to decide that for yourself. Just sit there if you don't. Matt, what's part 2, the work? You never talk about it. Sit there by yourself. I can't help you. I can't hold your hand. You need to write it out. If there's a part of me, a bigger part of me that's not here, what does it want from me? I'm the one that's here. I'm the one that booked into this loony bin earth insane asylum, and I have to go through this life. What does it want? What do I need to do? What do I need to overcome? Petty things that bother us or whatever it might be. I can't tell you what you need to do for you. Get in touch with it. Notice when you're, oh gosh, that's not what I'm supposed to be doing. Boy, if that bothers me, I really have problems. I need to really get over this, or you know what you need to do. There are many aspects to us. It all seems like we're one. We're not. Matt, you have Britney Spears' multiple personalities you're talking about now. No, there are multiple aspects to us, and there's not the fraudulent bullshit explanations like Freud's that try to throw us off the track, like id, ego, superego. Freud was a real sick bastard. Kept talking about how everybody wants to, in some way, I'm not even going to say it. Freud thought everybody was in that way attracted to the mother. I'm not joking. Freud was a real. If you had to pick, like, you want to read the works of Jung, or Freud, Jung. I mean, he was a weird dude too, but a lot more truth and understanding came out of Jung than Freud. He thinks everybody's interested in their own mother. That's sick. Anyway, but he's all Longshanks, Freud, all Notnilc in my opinion. That's why he's brought to prominence like a stuffed, why don't we just combine it, a stuffed Humpty Dumpty? It's like, what do you get? A fish stuffed with crab meat, or sometimes, what is it, chicken cordon bleu? Is that stuffed with cheese, I guess, and only cheese? But a Humpty Dumpty, what are we going to stuff him with? It's now called a stuffed Humpty Dumpty. Sigmund Freud, he's rolling around, listening to me. He's a stuffed Humpty Dumpty. He's all Longshanks. He's working for Notnilc with his id ego and super ego. Bullshit presentations like that. We probably could, Matt, let's relate it. Id, you, whatever ego, or your higher self, it probably has a relationship to that if we ever want to dive into it and break it down at some point. At the level it's presented in school, it's part of the trick. Of course it is. Have you, Matt, how many hours have you spent on it other than what I learned in school and just reading tidbits here and there? Nothing. I don't want to waste my time on that horse shit. But id, ego, so basically the truth in it is there are many different aspects to us. The body, it's just a rent-a-car. I mean, love your body, respect. It's not you. It's different. It's not you. And people give it away in terms of how even my dad all the time says, the body heals itself. People talk about the body like it's not him. It's completely different. It is. It's part of this place. Love it, respect it, do what you can for it. I talk to it all the time. I said, "Come on, body." I said, I'm grumbling in the tummy and need a restroom. I said, we're not going to be back for an hour, and we can't do this right now. You need to hold it or what. I mean, I talk to it in that way, and it works. I mean, it absolutely knows what I need from it. And I'm not going to be near a bathroom for an hour. I don't know. Make this go away. And it takes a couple years to really develop the synergies on that. And again, I'd like to talk to it in other ways. Right now, it's only related to that one thing. But you know what I mean? I don't want to get gross. But I'm telling you that there's no doubt about it that I can talk to it regarding that one aspect. And I'd like to be able to talk to it, for more reasons than that. But it's not you. It's collectively you're you. But there's the body. There's the Vitruvian man, that arm. There's the arm or the part that's attached to the parts of the mind, even the brain, that's more of this world, the ego, or the part that thinks and speaks in English. We could step back. You'd see there's a lot of different, very different things that are all kind of working together for what you call you. And part of the reality trick is to convince people it's just one. It's all you. When all the evidence is very separate things. Even the circulatory system or this organ is completely different than this organ, but they all work together on their own. They're very separate. We're that same way. As each layer you go up, all these different parts are working together. And one of the main tricks of Notnilc and the outer screen is it's just you, and it's all one, and it's not different parts. And the Notnilc says, you won, so we're going to fool you there, and you're all going to fall for my trick. You're all going to fall for my rewards and whatever we can present you, and you're going to covet my lifestyles. Why? So can I ask you, why are you gay? It's a famous kind of a video that they created a bunch of memes. It's funny shit. It always comes back to the same few sentences. In a way, reality is hijacked. It's not in the way that these certain YouTube fear channels want to present it. It's the role of the adversary to try to hijack as much as possible. But it's not hijacked like, oh, we're screwed. That was the role. The intention was for this player on the field to try to score as many points as it can for itself. And it takes energy as its reward. And it is, in a way, hijacked, but it's by design. So I don't like the word hijack. I believe this is all playing out the way it's supposed to play out. I mean, the first grade truther just can't comprehend that. The fifth grade truther, sixth grade, can't comprehend that. Oh, this is all the way it should be. Boy, you're a real sick son of a bitch, aren't you, Matt? Oh, you're cozying up to it. I'm going to go watch the troll channels. You are one of those people. Oh, you can't see it. You can't see it. In the scheme of all that there is and all that there ever will be, and your existence before and your existence after, consuelo central, this consequential, this stupid place is in the scheme of all that ever was and all that will ever be. Give me a break. If you can back up far enough in sending the Hillary Clintons off to jail to be with the Anthony Wieners, who cares? Who cares? See the role player and learn from it. Oh, when they all go to jail, it'll be all better. We can just sit around the campfire and be happy. And you know what? The next day we wake up and they all sent off to jail. And they're all slammed in the same cell together with the Anthony Wieners. We say, we got the same basic problems we did yesterday. It doesn't fix nothing, because guess what? Worry about yourself. You're here to fix yourself, to overcome your problems, your issues, why you were here, your petty hang-ups. And you're here for you, fixing society, or you'll live vicariously through that, sending the Anthony Wieners off to jail with the Chuck Schumers. They're pressed up against each other in the same cell, like that scene from My Cousin Vinny. One of the main tricks of the Notnilc on the screen is these problems in society are broken. You need to come out and fix this place. That's one of the main tricks. The first grade, third grade truthers, they don't get it. They're falling for the trick. Let's find the bad guy and beat the bad guy. The graduate level truther just sees that this is ridiculous. This is, if you back up far enough, realize, so let me get this straight. Don't do the Big Daddy thing again. I love the Big Daddy thing, but I won't do it anymore. At least I'll do it every video, but not this one anymore. So you now know, you realize you've existed for trillions of years, and you will exist for trillions of years, some sort of timeless being. But you were so concerned in that little, here's how long the reality was in the scheme of all of it. It was like, blip, that was it. That's a whole lifetime. And that was millions of times longer than what it should be. So in that lifetime, a blip, but it's again, that's just million. Take that and shave 100 millionth down and make it smaller. You were worried about fixing that little world and sending people off to what did you call it? Jail? Well, see how ridiculous it is when you just back up a little bit and get out of the weeds. So it's the same few sentences. There's a lot of different aspects of us. Part to the work is to understand who's working for what team. What part of your brain works for the Notnilc, the part that's associated or attached to the material plane. Our thoughts, even your own. What thoughts are your own? What thoughts are not? What thoughts come from the part of the brain that are attached to this place, like the ego? And then look at what is the adversary doing? How is it presenting its trick? Well, everybody sees through its basic trick, or you wouldn't be here. I mean, I'm not talking about the mall presentations and the school presentations. Basically, everything it does from the outer ring is a trick. It's very similar. Maybe there's a truth drop in it. Everything in that video we looked at, everything is a rich man's trick. Just change it up a bit. Everything, at least from everything other than the natural game board, is a Notnilc trick. Everything here. It's all false. So pretty simple. It's a role player on one side of the chessboard. You're a role player on the other. The idea is not to play chess against it, just to walk away from the game and to do what you're supposed to do for the part of you that's not here, of which it can't stop you from doing that. It's pretty simple. And it all boils down to, it's 3 words that I buried into one word. What about yourself? Matt, that sounds really like Luciferian or satanic, because remember Jay-Z had the t-shirt? He said, it didn't say worry about yourself. What did it say? Do what thou wilt. And do it, and that comes from like Antoine LaVey and the Satanists. Do what thou wilt is not worry about yourself. 2 completely different things. Do it that. Don't try to push do it thou wilt on to worry about yourself. I don't even know. I don't want to know what that means. Do what thou wilt. Go whack yourself off in an elevator. I don't know what that means. That's weird. Worry about yourself is you're here to clean yourself up spiritually to a degree, to overcome, to better, to learn. Oh, you said it's a school. You can't say it's a school. Oh, no, here comes the wrath of the people that every time you mention it might be a school or a learning experience. Guess what? Every time you pick up a pencil off the floor, you learn something. Every time you drop a pencil, you learn something. Or your body does. Where to position the knee so you don't pull your back out trying to bend over and pick up the pencil. Everything is learning. Don't even give me that. Of course, the whole thing's is it primarily a school? No, it's partially a school. Get over it. Of course it is. Anyway, but worry about yourself. Do what you need to do here. That is not do what thou wilt. Give me a break. Final part has to be addressed from time to time. You going to apologize to the Christians again, Matt? No, but I kind of just did. Matt, where does Jesus fit into all this? I don't know. Why does one size have to fit all? Where does any religion fit into this? I don't know. It doesn't to my definition or understanding of reality. I believe I existed before coming in here. Maybe I knew Jesus. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I knew Muhammad. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I had a Krispy Kreme franchise. Maybe I didn't. I'm here now. I don't think I don't have to bow down to anybody to get out of here. I don't. Where does Jesus fit in, or Muhammad, or Buddha, or where do they all fit in? They don't. Not to. Why does that? Maybe it works for you. Is that your way out? Okay. Again, every time we look closely at this, everything here is not the same. We're not all the same. Different types of entities, different types of reality layers we've been talking about. That it's not blasphemy. Maybe I don't need Jesus. Maybe you do. That's okay. Oh, Matt, blasphemy. Oh, Matt, you seem like a nice guy, but oh boy, you making mistakes. You messing up. I mean, that's what Missy said to me right when I was about to break up with her, and she said, "You messing up." I said, "I think we should break." You're messing up. I think. Okay, if you believe, a lot of people, there's Christians here that believe I am doomed. I don't know. My intuitions about reality are typically pretty good. Not bad-mouthing everybody's religion. I don't think it's one size fits all. I think there's a lot of different types of entities and people and old souls and young souls, and even we just talked about aspects of the body, so many different parts, so many different things. The major problem I've had with all religions has always been one size fits all. This is the way, and there is no other way. My way or the highway. You don't, John 3:16, only find the Father through the Son, no other, that's it. Sorry. Guess what? I've generally learned that's not how this particular reality works. All men are created equal. Maybe that's correct. What about the other aspects? The men, it's talking about man, the physical being that's part of this reality. All men are created equal. Okay, fine. What about all the other aspects? They're not created equal. They're not equal. The spiritual aspect, the soul, etc., the other aspects this reality tries to pretend doesn't exist. Fine, I'll take it. All men is created equal. That's right. The fleshy aspect that's associated with this place. Fine. There are other aspects and things going on. So every time we look, one definition doesn't work. One answer doesn't always fit. I'm going to apply that what I've learned about this reality. I'm going to apply to religion. Everything I've learned, I'm going to apply to religion. Oh, that's the one thing that says I'm going to give a pass to. Oh, the one thing that just breaks the mold on how this reality works. It might be for you. That might work for you. It's not one size fits all. I'm not doomed because I don't bow down before a certain God. Pretty sure of this. Matt, you willing to take a chance? Yeah, absolutely. I always go with the gut and intuition and inner knowing or inner tuning fork. What I'm called to do or what I believe how this reality works. No, I think it's inherently dangerous, Mr. Ambassador, to bow down before religion unless you know that is your path, just to play it safe. Picking a religion like a lot of people do to play it safe, to cover themselves before death, potentially like my grandfather did. He was a very spiritual being. He knew there's just more to existence. I've talked about this many times. He turned to the Catholic faith because he just observed what the rest of the family was doing. Now, one point of clarification, the Christians that are here are not just doing it to play it safe. Don't misinterpret or take my words out of context. They are completely devoted to Jesus Christ. I'm talking about a different type of person. I'm not talking about the people here. Let's be very clear. People kind of hear what they want to hear, and they'll start commenting. You don't think there's a lot of people in this world that have kind of, taken up the religion when in their 60s, 70s, or 80s just to kind of play it safe, or I better find religion? Most people probably have done that in this world, whatever their religion may be, whatever part of the world they live in. I better become devout because I now see death is around the corner. Of course, that happens all the time. So I think that's, my grandfather being a spiritual person. Well, what choice did he have? The whole family's, he looks around, the whole Northeast here, Philadelphia, New York, Boston, D.C., is very, very Catholic. I don't know if it fulfilled him or whatever. I'm not sure how. Every time you go into a Catholic church, it presents Jesus Christ in the most beat up, manner possible, with gaping wounds, and it really looks bad. I would, you think if this was my God or whatever, I would want to present him in the highest sense and the most positive, the great things he did. Catholic Church is always like he's like hanging off the cross, and the damn spikes are in it. They're always like this in the Catholic Church, like I've talked about. The blood oozing out of the wounds, and the damn spikes through the hands, and it looks like the eyeballs popping out of the sockets. It scares the shit. I was at little kids' weddings and funerals. It scares the shit out of you. It's like, why is that same person on that oozing blood all that? Oh, that's Jesus Christ. Why don't they show him in a good light? Well, I never said that, but I should have. Anyway, I think he just, I think he turned to Catholicism to play it safe. But we have tremendous access. This duality is always the same in this reality. The internet is damning and dooming, and it's magnified the trick of this reality times 1 billion. However, look at the information people like us have been able to share, and insights, and everything you've shared with me via the digital age. It wouldn't exist with all the emails that have come to me explaining how, Matt, you're a little bit wrong about that. This is kind of how it works, and let me show you this and that, and then I'll put it back together and then put it back out to you. We've benefited tremendously from the internet and the digital age. It's always yin and yang. If it dooms and damns and destructs and corrupts on one side, it has to give back on the other. My grandfather, when he found Catholicism in roughly 1985, he just, maybe he should have done a little bit of, he should have taken the comparative religion class at the local community college and tried to look at a few different things, but he didn't have access to 1/100th millionth or billionth what we have access to. So as bad as this internet age is, and it's the devil and all, but we have benefited tremendously. Every time it takes a bite of the shit sandwich, no matter what it is, we will benefit because it has to give a benefit on the back end. Thanks for listening.